So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Post-Production World on the NAB in Las Vegas. My name is Dado and I would like to thank to Apple and organizers of this event, Future Media Conferences, for inviting me and showing you very exciting news, primarily for people who work in professional post-production and relying on Final Cut Pro. What you're going to see today is probably the biggest upgrade to Final Cut Pro Color and how we can use AI even to accelerate the process of color grading. Here is just a quick overview to what we're going to be seeing today. So just want to say quickly hi and welcome. And then I'm going to be performing a live grading session of a short movie called Kepler 138. More details about it to follow soon, and then I'm going to leave some time at the end for questions and answers. Quickly, just an introduction. You've probably seen my name is Dado Valentic. I am a colorist with more than 20 years of experience, and in recent years I have been playing a role of color scientist. As a CEO and founder of Color Intelligence, a company that is behind Colourlab Ai, an amazing little application, software, and a technology that is using AI to accelerate color grading, but is doing more than that, as you will see. Some very, very interesting workflows I got to show you today. But I really wanted to make this presentation more than just a kind of, hey, here is, the technology. I really thought, let's make it more exciting, and how about a little challenge? Challenge is always good. So what is the challenge for today is whether it is possible to color grade a short movie in less than an hour. So you probably know that it normally takes us at least like an 8-hour session to grade a short. And yeah, I mean, I've never done it. Not in front of the audience at least, so this is going to be my first time, and I thought it's going to be a great little attempt to see if it's going to be possible to do that. Now, you probably noticed that in the title of the session it said advanced, color grading, and I just really wanted to clarify what it means. What is actually advanced? Advanced, is really pointing to the way, how we're going to be color grading, and to a couple of things. First is workflow, and then all the underlying color science. So basically, there is a workflow that is deployed right now in Hollywood on all productions, and we kind of call it advanced, but we should probably call it standard by now, because it has established itself as a standard workflow. And the reason why it's called advanced is because it's using a couple of technologies that we didn't tend to use in the past, and we definitely didn't have any of this in Final Cut Pro, which is we are going to work color managed. I'm going to explain exactly a little bit what it means, and then I'm also going to be using a scene referred workflow. So as a last step, I'm going to be deploying a film stock emulation, but not just any film stock emulation. I want to deploy one that is going to satisfy the most demanding directors and cinematographers who have grown up on film and who really know the difference between digital and film. So what is this advanced workflow really? So basically, in advanced workflow, what we do is we shoot everything with camera in log, and then we grade dailies. We do dailies color grading. We usually render those dailies, and then we supply them to the editorial department. Then once they have edited, we do a conform where we go back to the original camera negative. So we throw away everything kind of, we apply it to dailies, and we usually have to start from the beginning again, and then we do the final grade. So basically, this is kind of this advanced workflow. When I'm hired to supervise any one of those shows for Netflix, HBO, or something like that, I'm usually looking to hire about 6 people as a part of my team to be able to complete this workflow. So these are people who work on set, like DITs, dailies, colorists, conform artists, and final colorists, and color scientists and supervisors. So it's actually quite a large group of people working in order to make this happen in the most effective way. Now, as you will see, there is no 6 people today with me. It's going to be just me, myself, and my laptop. And so we're going to see how that's going to go. The next thing I also wanted to explain is this thing called color management and what it is and how it works. And there is a particular type of color management that we use today, in particular in feature films and episodic TVs and anything that has to go simultaneously to HDR and SDR. And what this type of color management does is it takes the camera signal, which is usually in the native camera space or camera gamma, and then we're using some form of input transform, so color conversion, processing, where we put all our camera into a color grading space, and this grading space is scene referred. Now, just in case if you have not familiar with this term scene referred, there is basically 2 types of how we can describe the light inside the digital file, right? We can say, hey, this pixel was this bright at the moment of capture, and it contained this level of light and this level of color. So basically, this is what we call scene referred. So it's just basically describing what happened in front of the lens. And then there is a display referred encoding where we describe inside the pixel, hey, you should light a pixel on your display device this bright with this color intensity in order to achieve the effect that we want. And they're actually 2 completely different things, right? Because you can see, one is more descriptive nature, is trying to just capture all possible detail to what's happening without limiting it in any way, where the other one is very specific by limiting it to the technical specification of the display that we are going to be showing it in. And the reason why scene referred is really important for us is because today we have to display on more than one display. We have to deliver to more than one type of display. So it has to be HDR and SDR, and this delivery has to be simultaneous. That means there is no time really in modern workflows that we kind of grade HDR and then we just grade SDR. We kind of usually do a one grade, and that grade we adapt to one or another by using color management, and we can do so if we remain and we color grade in scene referred color space. So there was a little quick, just a color science, like a diversion, but I promise I won't be too heavy with color science. Just really wanted to explain that. And as you're probably aware, this doesn't really exist. In any editorial systems, they were usually completely display, just give me the file and I'll show it. And to have this now inside Final Cut Pro, as you'll see, is going to make a huge difference. I really hope actually you're going to see the improvement in image quality that we are going to achieve by just changing the way how we process the data. And to make things a little bit more interesting, apart from grading a short movie in an hour, I'm going to basically stay in Final Cut Pro. I won't use any other color grading applications. I will use Colourlab Ai, but this is integrated with Final Cut. So I won't be using any color grading systems like normally we would use for this type of jobs, like DaVinci or Baselight or Nucoda or anything like that. And actually, I want to make it a little bit more fun, just for you guys who are kind of more editors, not really colorists. For me, it's not really a problem to color grade using just 3-way color corrector, left gamma gain. I've been using it for years, and I can operate it with my eyes closed. But I do know how difficult it is for somebody who's not using these tools daily to kind of operate them, and how many years it takes to really become very fluent in left gamma gain. So I'm actually not going to use any of those legacy color grading controls. None. I will show you how we're going to be able to grade in all this advanced way, using all this advanced color management, and be able to apply looks, yet I will never touch any of the legacy tools. So I hope that sounds interesting enough for you. So let's start with the actual grade. So at the start, I would like to show you what is the desired outcome that we want from this particular challenge. So this is actual movie, Kepler 138. It's already been graded using traditional tools, and I want to just give you a little bit of explanation what's happening in it, because it's important for us just to understand what we need to do. So this is a sci-fi story, we could say, about a girl. She wanted to become an astronaut, and she got onto a mission to go to a remote planet. He crash landed on that remote planet, and then she was recording these tapes and sending them by a kind of makeshift transmitter back to Earth. And her dad was then receiving these tapes years later, and she was describing her life by herself on this remote planet. And how wonderful it is. So it's actually a really, really beautiful and touching story. And as you can see, it's actually happening so that it's by the way, I love this style of editing, but it's a really difficult for color grading, where we're constantly moving from one location to another. So it's not necessarily scene-based storytelling, where we kind of go to the planet, something happens when they come to planet Earth, and then something happens, but we are constantly switching between the two. As she's telling story what's happening, we are instantly seeing father's reactions, and that keeps the edit very dynamic, but also at the same time it means that from point of color we have to have different looks, right? Different situations, one grade for the planet Earth and one grade for the Kepler planet. And then also, we need to kind of also portray that there was a lot of things happening in the meantime, and that a lot of time has passed, so that what was happening on the planet shouldn't always look the same. We should see different moments, different locations. So all of that really is something that we need to enhance with the use of color. We need to really help tell this story in a better way with use of color, when planet is hostile or when planet is friendly and everything's happy. Color is really going to be there to help us enhance and help tell better story. Okay, so first I'm going to open my Final Cut Pro project, and what I got here is clips that were shot sequentially. So I'm just going to put them all onto timeline. This is now my dailies process. So I got all of my material that's shot. Before I start editing, I would want all of my dailies to be graded first, because this looks very log. The reason why is because it's been shot with Panasonic S1H, a wonderful camera, large format sensor, but it shoots in Vlog, which is actually what we want. This is the beginning of our advanced workflow, that we're going to capture everything in log. And then we're going to have to go and apply some dailies grade to it. So now I'm open to Colourlab Ai. And Colourlab Ai and Final Cut Pro are linked tightly together. So all I have to do now is just go to Final Cut and take this project, which just has all of my dailies on a single kind of project on a single timeline. I'm just going to go and drag it and drop it onto Colourlab Ai icon, and immediately it opens up like this. So we basically get instantly the copy of the whole timeline. There is no need to export any XMLs or anything like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, can I please say that this is shot with a Panasonic camera? And then Colourlab Ai is going to assign the right profile, and immediately what you're going to see is a standard Rec 709 look, one that manufacturer of the camera thinks how things should look like in 709. So I already have kind of got a good starting point. Now there is this button here which says kind of grade all, but this is not what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a little bit what I'm going to do in the first part of dailies grading. So I'm not really trying to give this image an amazing creative look right now. All I'm doing is I just really want to kind of apply some sort of balance. So Colourlab Ai has got a perfect tool for that. It's called Auto Color, and all I have to do is just click on a clip that I want to kind of balance, and just select Auto Color And basically, this is really exactly what's going to happen. I can click on multiple clips and just give them overall, like you see, just a corrected balance. I remove, some of the tint. I get the exposure looking right, and so on. Now, these shots were supposed to look a little bit moody because we're not supposed to see his reaction immediately. So I think I'm going to leave them like this. Now, this shot of a father, this is all like a, kind of on earth and a little bit, shot a little bit moody like that. So we'll leave that. This is a birthday scene. Let's make that, a little bit more open like this. So you see the auto color does the job perfectly for all of those shots. This is the forest shots. Actually I quite like them, Now this one is a little bit too dark, I feel, so all I need to do is change the density. So you see, all I need to do is just press enter, open, click on density, and then choose the right density value. So maybe, you're not a colorist, you don't know how to operate the controls, but you can just click on image you like. You can click on one you think looks great, and then so basically choose, what should happen with an image. Effectively, what you're doing is you're changing just the density of the shot. And I can then quickly, manually just click on the shot. I press enter, then I can select density. I just open up to the level I really like. I think it's correct. I press enter again, and that's it. So this is kind of also a nice way how you can go and then apply, some additional corrections. Now, there is another really interesting tool, and this tool is the little target here. You see that I'm going to select. So this is kind of what we call almost like a point of interest. Every shot has got a focal point that actually has been exposed for. And that one usually needs to sit on 0, and here you have Lachman zones that show you exactly what sits on 0. And then by me highlighting and just selecting that area that I want to expose, I can just tell AI what I'm looking for. And then here in the drop down I can select how many stops I want this area to be in relation to my middle gray or 0 exposure. So yeah, it's a really intuitive and quick way how to go and balance shots a little bit more here as well. This is typical example of a shot that went way over. So what we need to do is we need to just go and select the area of interest, which is which is her sitting on the ridge or standing on the ridge. And then I'm just going to target her to just about 1 stop down. Excellent, that's perfect. So yeah, so you can see now maybe the nights I'm going to leave as night. All of these shots, space shots, we can also just give them a little balance as well. I can just go and auto balance them all. Let's do that, perfect. Just give them a little exposure. And so yeah, so you see, I'm just literally going and highlighting the area of interest, and the AI is, doing everything else for me, is making all the right adjustments. Yeah. Now, here I have a shot, of a sunset. Let me see here what I should do. I should definitely go and open up a little bit here around, and help that exposure like that. The next we have a scene inside a tent. So yeah, so they all feel a little bit like kind of too reddish. So let's go and balance that. Probably the light from the tent. So we're going to use auto balance on those, and yeah, that looks much better now. Yeah. So now that my first pass or dailies balance is ready, I want to send these clips back to Final Cut Pro. So now all I have to do is right mouse click, and I'm going to select here, send scene. Okay, this is a new option. So what's going to happen now, I need to just say, hey, what library it needs to go to, and check this out. Every clip comes across as a new clip, okay, with just a little plugin called Colourlab Ai applied to it. And that holds all the color grading. So all that happened is actually we have moved a very small amount of color metadata and applied it to the clip. And then this now plays back in real time, 4K, 8K, multiple streams on my laptop. But it's giving me that color, that look that I want without any rendering on that original media that I've ingested. So there is no rendering, no waiting, no problems with something, losing its timecode names or whatever else. No, I'm just applying a color metadata to the clip. So now I can go ahead and do my editing. okay, with graded material. So let's pretend the edit is over now. Here is my edited timeline, the project itself. Okay, so now I'm going to go and take this project, the edited project, and drop that onto Colourlab. Okay, now it's going to ask me, hey, do you want to save this previous one? I'm just going to say yes to it. Excellent. Okay, and look what's going to happen. It's going to import all of these clips again. I just have to OK them. But what's different now is that every color adjustment I made in my dailies grading has now come across. And basically I can see exactly what it was done. So I'm not starting from zero. I'm not starting from original log. I'm actually starting from original log with all the color metadata applied that I was using to create dailies. So now it's my choice to say, hey, do I want to leave it looking like dailies or do I want to keep improving it? And my answer is yes, I want to keep improving it. I want to now give this a little like a creative look. And now I'm going to show you what really Colourlab AI is capable of, and this is where you're going to get enormous amount of help when we start building creative looks. So the first thing I'm going to use here is something that we call AI references. And this is kind of, think of it like just a form of a superlat. Instead of just, having a look applied to it, it also holds a visual fingerprint. Okay, so let me show you how it works. So I go and I select, let's say, this AI reference. Okay, I want to show you it side by side so it's akin really what happens. And then now when I say match, what it does, it really tries to match, the source and the reference in best possible way. Or let's say maybe, something like a little bit reddish like this. So you see, it's trying to really, get the best possible match, considering that there is, these are really completely different shots. And very interesting, it's also smart. So you see I have something pink here, but it recognizes there's nothing that can be pinked in an original source, so it completely ignores that color as well. So, so I can now, like, for example, play with these, and they are a fantastic way, how to start grading. These are the libraries that keep expanding of smartlets, but I can also go and create my own smartlets if I wish to do so. But so just so you understand, this visual fingerprinting is a really interesting technology that we really hope it's going to expand, and we would love to see it actually, be embedded already in camera metadata. Because it's a very small file. It's a very effective way how to describe what's been captured. And what's really interesting is that we can take that one visual fingerprint and plug it into another shot, and so create this interesting, look management techniques, where we are balancing shots inside the scene. But I don't only have to use the built-in, smartlets. I can actually go and create my own, and I use this website called Shot Deck to do so. It's an amazing site, the biggest library of film images, and I created a little reference image library, and every time I import an image, it gets automatically converted into an AI reference or into a smartlet. So you see I have got a group here of some images I picked up I like. So how about maybe, this scene from Martian, right? So how about that? So you see now this is not just a still image. It has all the information that fingerprint needs to have, and it also knows what type of shot it is. As you can see here in tags, it says interior, cold, and so on, and close up. So now I can use that image as my reference, right? And I can say, oh my God, I love it. It's going in the right direction, but it's not quite there, right? So for that, I need to use now models, right? So the models is, think about it, just a kind of different way of matching images. Maybe different colorists would match things differently, and you have several options here. There are several models. Usually one of them is really close by to what you think it's the right match. So see, for me, this was the right model. Now I have, the contrast and tonality looking exactly right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this shot into my AI reference, and now I can use that shot to match all the remaining shots in a scene like that. And all I have to do is just select them, highlight them, and press match, and bang, basically the AI goes ahead and moves my lift gamma gain dials for me, so I don't have to do it. I'm sure you would admit it, this definitely accelerates things significantly. Okay, so let's move on to the next scene. And all of these shots, I'm going to also just continue matching using the same reference, because I definitely want to have some continuity inside the cockpit, so everything should look exactly the same. So that worked perfectly. Excellent. And now we come to the cutaway back on Earth. So for the first time now we're going to see the father. And remember, like, this father was kind of intercut, it was like, coming always in between the scenes. Now, wouldn't it be nice if I could group all of these shots of a father and grade them all at the same time? And for that we have this thing called timeline intelligence. So you see, the moment I click on timeline intelligence, it groups all of those shots based on similarity. So what I can do is I can just go and say, hey, I like this shot, I just want to open up the density a little bit. I'm going to use my color tune like this, and I'm going to set the density. And now this is the grade that I want to apply to all of the rest of the shots every time I'm seeing father from that angle, or let's say here, this angle of father. I'm also going to go and apply exactly this particular grade. So this is really, really accelerating, this whole process. So now in one click, I have, managed to get all of those kind of cutaways every time I'm back on Earth to grade in the same way. Okay, cool. This shot here as well, I'm just gonna open up, just using my density a little bit. It works the smoothest, for just a little bit giving more detail to these shots. And now we come to the forest shot. Now, this is maybe a positive side of the planet. I really feel like, okay, this is something I want to give like a nice, and beautiful look. And for that, I'm going to go back to standard approach of 3D LUTs, right? Or we call them show looks because they're a little bit more than 3D LUTs, but they operate exactly like a 3D LUT. You can even import your own 3D LUTs here. And by clicking on one of these guys in the library, I can just go quickly through it and see which one, kind of is giving my footage, the best possible feel that I got. That's my look. I love it. I love the way it looks. So yeah, but I want to show you actually why this looks a little bit more than just show LUT. So I'm going to go quickly into Look Designer. And in there, you have a whole photochemical laboratory. It really works like a photochemical image processing used to work. It's using subtractive color processing. I can here, like, for example, select a negative stock. Yes, thank you. That, I can, choose that I could have been shooting this with. There is a large library of many, film stocks that are available. As many of those don't even exist anymore, are not manufactured. I really don't have time to show you, all details what's possible to do here, but trust me, this is a really, really powerful look design tool. Okay, so now I'm going to go and say, okay, this particular look is going to be now my reference for all the forest shots. So let me do that. Now, wouldn't it be nice if I could group those forest shots together? No problem. I just go back into timeline intelligence, right? And in there, I just go and select all those shots. Every time we are in the forest, there we go. And I'm just going to go and say, okay, auto match those. And then basically, we go through it, we analyze them, and then we apply appropriate look and appropriate CDL setting. Okay, let's see what is happening here. This is different shot. I won't necessarily touch it. What's happening here? This is also in the forest, so let's go and match that one as well. Let's see any more shots. This one is also forest. Yeah, this one should go as well. Let me see now. Okay, what is here in the back on my normal timeline? What will come in next? Oh, it's a crash landing. Okay, so the crash landing scene I want to make very dramatic. I mean, it's a moment, where basically ship crashed. So I need it to look like, really, really scary and dramatic. And for that, I'm going to go back into my images I downloaded earlier from Shot Deck, and there is this, shot from Martian again. This is how what Mars looks like. Okay, that could be it. I really like it. Why not? So I could now use that in combination with the show I designed earlier, you know, so that I basically get a combination of those. I'm just going to balance that light a little bit like this. Okay, perfect. So now I got a look for the crash landing. Okay, now we're going to make that look now be my reference. And this is now going to be the reference that I'm going to use for the rest of the shot in that scene. So there we go. And then here, this shot. Okay. Oh, I have to go and fix the exposure again, you know, so let's go and do that. So I have to just go and click onto my target. Okay. There we go. And then in the target, I have to select where is my neutral point. And then also I need to go and select much better matching model than this one. This is really good matching model, the one that really works for this scene. Excellent. So now I'm in exactly the right tone, like my reference. Okay, here I have some more forest shots. Okay, so for that I'm gonna go and load again the reference I was using earlier for all the forest shots, and I'm just gonna go and quickly apply them to these shots. Excellent. The night I'm going to leave, these shots already got graded, didn't they? So, you know, I have already applied, you know, grade to them. This is, oh, this is also like could be in the forest. Let's go and match that to be exactly like that. Perfect. So now we have a consistency here. Okay, here I feel, you know, I could do something else. You know, just to kind of show, hey, you know, this is not, you know, super, you know, scary, you know, crash landing or, you know, nice forest. You know, what I want to show here, you know, something from my references. And how about this one? Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, why not, man? Always looking good. Perfect. I really, really like this look. And I'm going to make now this look my reference, and I'm going to use that as a reference for, you know, the rest of the shots in this particular scene. Okay, this shot as well. Nice, very nice. Then we have a birthday. We already graded that. This shot I pretty like, actually. Why not? It looks really, you know, nice and deserty. The birthday shot we already graded. This is already fine. Now, you know, this is our scene we had earlier that we just balanced for the tent. Let me see if I can make something more interesting from it. You know, just to let's see what. Let me think what I could do. Maybe I go back into my AI references, right? And let me see whether I can find something here. Let me try something like this, a little colder, maybe. Yeah, much better. You know, something like this. Let me see, maybe like this one. I think I like this more. You know, it kind of gives me a little bit warmth. You know, inside the tent, it feels better. I don't know why. It just feels, you know, right for this look. So I'm going to make this as a reference, and all the rest of the tent shots, they're all going to get this particular look as a reference, and I'm just going to quickly go and auto match them and balance them. Now this shot, maybe here I can go a little bit crazy, you know, because this is like, you know, moment in time, you know, something that happened. Maybe there was a storm or something like that. I want to make this really, really dramatic. So for that, I'm going to use this shot. Something extreme. Why not? Okay, but I don't think this is extreme enough. But this model is exactly what I thought is going to look really, really nice and extreme. Here, yeah, this could look maybe more like a night, isn't it? You know, because like that way I have a great contrast between like a, you know, like a fiery scene previously and then her standing on a rock. And, you know, maybe looking more like night. Let's see. And then I just want to go and find a model that matches perfectly well. This is the one again. Okay, great. So I got those matching, right? Now I need to go and finish, you know, the matching of my stand. Oh, we have a dish shot here. That one, you know, we're just going to go and use this reference we used earlier for all of those shots there. Let's do that. Let's just balance them very quickly. Okay, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Look, we managed to get through all of the timeline. Now, I want to show you what am I going to do next. Okay, so you probably wonder, you know, now we would render or whatever, but no, we don't have to do this. We're just going to go basically and click on this button here, which says, you know, push to Final Cut. I'm going to go and press that. Okay, And then now it's going to ask me, hey, again, what library? Okay, and this time I'm going to get the actual project. So the whole sequence has come through, and now look, everything has come over completely graded, exactly the same look. And we spend a lot of time understanding how color science, of Final Cut works, and adapted it to Colourlab so that you really get exactly the same results. Everything scene referred, everything looking exactly as you want it, with film stock emulation applied to it. And I've managed to actually grade, this particular short in much less than an hour. There is still a little bit time for us to go and, fine tune and a little bit adjust all of those things in it. So yeah, I hope this gives you an idea to what possibilities we have today. How quickly we can get to something that looks actually really good, and how now we can actually maybe even experiment a little bit more and use the time that we would normally just use to kind of do the basic balancing and grading to maybe do a little bit more creative work, more adjustments and stuff like that, but without any rendering, without wasting our time on stupid tasks that we used to do back in the day, like relinking and conforming and sending back and all of that stuff. Now it's just a matter of past, because color metadata does all the work for us, and this is actually really, really wonderful news. So I really hope you liked what I just showed you. I want to open up for some questions and answers. I would also like to encourage you to go to Colourlab.ai website and download your free copy of Colourlab Ai, fully functioning, free trial for 7 days, and take it for a test ride and try out some of this amazing technology. I'm sure you're gonna find it quite addicting, when you start playing with all the different options. And now we're just going to expand as well the site with some new training, and yeah, make AI be your friend. Thank you very much.